Hello, everyone. Russia's shenanigans in Ukraine may not prompt a lot of action from the official organizations like NATO or UN or Amnesty International or Red Cross, other than complaining about how Ukraine is waging war on its own territory against its invaders. However, former Russian allies are starting to turn away from their troublesome neighbor. Here's an example. Armenia used to be Russia's ally for a long time, especially when it came to the long-standing conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Personally, I think all of the Caucasus nations, Georgia, Armenia, or Azerbaijan, would be better served if they sat down together and understood who the real enemy was. But in any case, Armenia used to be Russia's allies, and then now they are sending aid to Ukraine for the first time since ever. There's no doubt in my mind there's going to be a lot of screaming and yelling in the Russian media on the subject about how Russia has been betrayed, etc., etc., totally ignoring the fact that being allied with Russia had brought Armenia nothing but an ongoing territorial conflict, loss of territory, loss of life, and economic stagnation. Russia is also rapidly running out of people to put along its borders because more and more of its forces are being siphoned to Ukraine. Not a lot of people realize this, but Norway actually has a part of its border which it shared with Russia in the Arctic. So if you pull up the map, pull up the North Pole, that area, and look at it, there is a section of the border they shared. And Norway Defense Ministry is pointing out that the amount of troops located there, Russian troops, had decreased by 20%. NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg said that we must brace ourselves for a long war when it comes to the war in Ukraine. And my question is, why? You guys have it in your power to help Ukraine finish this quickly. If, for example, you reacted to Romania's statements about Russian drones dropping into its territory, like you should, we could end this literally within weeks, possibly a couple of months. If you had allowed Ukraine to join NATO, or at least provisionally join NATO and provided it with the NATO support, we also could finish this fairly quickly. So Ukraine is doing its absolute best. It can't do any better with what it's got. So the question of finishing this war quickly can only be answered by Ukraine's allies. As per usual, Russia continues targeting civilian objects, in this particular case, the grain storage facilities near Odessa, especially now that there are two foreign ships in the Odessa port waiting to export 20,000 tons of grain. And then there is the video of the village of Klishchiivka, recently liberated by the Ukrainian soldiers. Find it. Find that video. It's 3 minutes long, and you will see what it means to be invaded by Russia. There are photographs emerging showing how little there is left of the village. So here's one, and here's another one from a slightly different angle, but you can see that little building in the back is the same. This is Russian world. This is what Russia is bringing to its neighbors. And make no mistake, They are not going to stop at Ukraine. I've been saying this over and over. Russian Duma, their equivalent of the parliament, had already decided they want to go back and occupy all of the former Soviet republics and then all of the former members of the socialist bloc. Are we seriously going to sit around and wait for that? Are we seriously going to do that? Because this will come to other countries if Russia is not stopped right now.